Let's look at some of the key features of the Uniform Civil Code Bill that has been tabled in the Uttarakhand Assembly. It envisions equal property rights for the son and daughter, elimination of distinction between legitimate and illegitimate children, inclusivity of adopted and biologically born children, equal property rights after death. The bill seeks a ban on halala and iddat practices that exist in Islam. The bill includes a complete ban on polygamy and child marriage. The bill proposes common marriageable age for girls across all faiths. The bill enforces similar grounds and procedures for divorce. My colleague Kabir Naqvi has more on this story for us. Kabir, take us through some of the key provisions of this bill. Now, Uniform Civil Code itself is quite controversial. We've always seen a very polarizing debate around it. However, one particular feature of this bill that is causing a fair bit of controversy is how it says that once this becomes a law, all live-in relationships, for instance, will need to be registered, and if you're under the age of 21, you will need your parents' consent.
Well, absolutely, Neha. You know, ever since the bill was tabled and people have been talking about it here in the newsroom as well, when the aspect of the live-in relationship, the rules and regulations around it, that came to light. The entire, bill copy that was tabled in the Uttarakhand Assembly, people got down to it, trying to pick point and highlight what are some of those salient points that can be told to people outside. I mean, my Instagram is flooded with questions as to what is the most important thing that you can tell us about this uniform and common civil code. Well, there is not one, there are too many. The key features and implications, what it means on the larger, for the multitude on the, larger end, that is something that you've covered already. Let's focus a little bit on the live-in that you, mentioned yourself. I have made a couple of those pointers. Now, individuals who are in, and I'm reading it from the bill, individuals who are in or are planning to enter into live-in relationships, for those, listen in carefully, especially those who are part of the state of Uttarakhand residents, they should register themselves under the Uniform Civil Code in Uttarakhand once, of course, it comes into law. Those who fail to adhere to the rules will face a jail term of up to 6 months and a fine of up to rupees 25,000, or Neha, it could be both in certain scenarios. Now, parental consent is going to be of utmost importance if these people, if these two individuals who are entering in this live-in relationship are below the age of 21. They should be submitting a statement to the registrar in the state, in their locality, in their district, stating whether they are residents of Uttarakhand or not. Now, according to the proposed UCC in Uttarakhand, if individuals stay in a live-in relationship for more than a month without submitting a particular statement to the registrar, telling them about their whereabouts and who they are with in this relationship, they could be punished or sent to jail for up to 3 months, along with a fine of 10,000 rupees, or both in this instance as well. Now, if live-in partners, if these two individuals, once they get into a live-in, if they withhold information or give any kind of false statements to the local authorities about who they're living with, about their own credentials, then that could land them in trouble as well. They could face imprisonment for up to 3 months and a fine which is not exceeding rupees 25,000, or both in this situation and circumstances as well. The statements of the live-in partners will be forwarded then to the officer in charge of a local police station. I mean, I'm just taking the viewer through the technicalities of how this live-in process is going to be taken care of. The police station will be informed by the authorities if the details provided in the statement turn out to be incorrect, which is when the fines and the imposition of imprisonment terms are going to be brought in. Now, as per the Uttarakhand Civil Code, a woman who has been deserted in a live-in relationship. So after two individuals, once they satisfy all the accounts, they have parental consent, they have given the correct statements to the local authorities. After that, as per the UCC, if a woman is deserted in a live-in relationship, then the woman can approach the court and is entitled to claim maintenance as well. Similar to what happens in an alimony or a divorce sort of a situation. A child in the advent of a pregnancy or a child in a live-in relationship will be declared a legitimate child of the couple under the common civil code provision. So important steps that have been taken by the government here, keeping in mind that live-in relationships are becoming a trend. They're becoming quite common. We've seen how youngsters try try and live with their girlfriends, their boyfriends, their partners respectively. However, now there are exceptions, and mind you, Neha, for all the viewers, do pay attention to these. There are exceptions to the registration of the live-in relationships in the state of Uttarakhand. A live-in relationship between two people will not be registered if the partners are in a prohibited relationship. Now, prohibited relationship, what constitutes a prohibited relationship? Take a look at that. Prohibited relationships refer to certain familial connections that legally disallow individuals from marrying or engaging in sexual intercourse with each other. These restrictions are based on degrees of blood relation and in some cases affinity, which is relation by marriage. Now, some of the crucial salient points in terms of restrictions, in terms of what critics have also put out there. When one of the individuals is married or is already in a live-in relationship, it is a prohibited live-in relationship. When at least one of the individuals is a minor, then that is again a prohibited relationship. When the consent of one of the partners was obtained by force, coercion, undue influence, undue duress, misrepresentation, fraud, faulty atmosphere and scenario, that is going to be a prohibited live-in relationship. And in that scenario, again, imprisonment and fine is something that people will have to be wary of. Now, how do you terminate a live-in relationship? Just to, sort of sum up this entire segment. To end a live-in relationship, Neha, both the partners or either of them should submit a statement of termination to the same registrar where you finally given your initial statements, within whose jurisdiction you're actually living. A partner who wants to end the live-in relationship should submit a copy of the termination statement to his or her partner as well. All very formal, steps, something that, like I mentioned before, you see in alimony situations or, when people are moving to file divorce. The UCC was tabled in the Uttarakhand Assembly. We earlier showed visuals as well. There were chants of Jai Hind, Jai Shri Ram and Vande Mataram as well. Pushkar Singh Dhami, after tabling the draft copy, he looked back and he was greeted with a lot of firm handshakes, like it was some really hefty operation, surgical operation that was successful. Now the UCC, which proposes uniform marriage, divorce, land, property, adoption rights, you talk about inheritance laws, all of that comes into the game for all citizens irrespective of this religion. And mind you, Neha, somebody who's in a live-in relationship outside the state of Uttarakhand but belongs to Uttarakhand is a citizen of Uttarakhand. UCC